Hi, I'm Jenny Rae. Welcome to Management Consulted. I'm the Managing Director. And today I'm back to talk about consulting resume reviews. In particular, today I'm talking about the 3 types of consulting resume reviews. And I'm going to highlight how your resume might be reviewed if you decide to apply to a consulting firm. Now, the 3 types that I'm going to highlight are not mutually exclusive. They're often used in tandem across one particular firm, but some firms do use different types more than others. However, I'm going to just highlight in an example top 10 firm how these different resume review processes work. The first type of resume review process is when it's done by a computer review. And there are 2 types of resumes that are usually considered through the computer review. The first are for highly technical positions. So if you're applying for something that has a very specific technical skill required, then it's often put through a screening process. A computer will do the filtering to identify how well your skills match up with the advertised skills that are demanded from the position. The second types of positions are firm-wide positions. Many of these firms have multiple global offices, and they're interested in people that are interested across multiple offices. So rather than just house one office, one HR recruiter, they'll have a computer-generated system screen through a lot of the qualified applicants and then pass them off to the relevant offices that will actually be interviewing you. So that's the first type of review, the computer review. The second type of review is an HR review. And the HR review usually happens for a couple of different kinds of candidates. The first is if you are an off-cycle hire. So if you're an off-cycle hire, it's more normal to have an HR recruiter review. They usually won't pull together an entire team to review a small number of applications. So the HR or the recruiting individual, instead of just managing the process, will actually serve as the gatekeeper for you. In addition, if you're an experienced hire, so if you're applying for a manager or a partner position in many of these firms, then an HR or recruiting individual will be the one to coordinate your process. Oftentimes, they'll actually follow up with you to hold a screening interview before even putting you to the interview process. And then finally, the third type are for boutique firms. A lot of boutique firms do not have the resources to pull all of their staff onto a team review, and so a dedicated HR professional will serve the overall position of performing the gatekeeping role of determining who gets an interview and who doesn't. The final type of resume review that's done is a team review, and this is how the majority of slots are usually filled inside a firm. The team review is held oftentimes on a Friday, and I'm going to go into more detail in a future video of exactly how a team review works, but today I'm just going to talk about the types of individuals that go through a team review. Generally, there are 2 things that are required if you're going to go through a team review. The first is that you're an on-cycle hire, so you're applying for full-time positions in the fall or the autumn, and for internship positions in the January-February timeframe. Or you are the type of person who is coming from a target school. And actually, a lot of times it's the intersection of the 2 of those that go through a team review. So you're both applying from a target school where you have a specific portal that you're going through, as well as applying on cycle. Those are the 3 types of reviews: computer reviews, HR reviews, and team reviews. Across the board, usually interview positions, about 10% of them would be filled in a computer review, about 20% would be filled through an HR review, and about 70% would be filled in a team review. That just demonstrates the firm's focus on their emphasis schools, the target schools that they go for. And in future videos, I'll be excited to highlight more details about how to construct a resume that will really get their attention during the review. In the meantime, feel free to check us out at managementconsulted.com, where we have lots of articles and resources about consulting resumes.